Live from Newcastle on the beautiful New South Wales Central Coast, the Macro Vitamins National Hockey League Championship Series, the Eastern Division semi-final. And here at the International Sports Centre, the Brisbane Blades will take on the Canberra Lakers. Welcome to Newcastle. I'm Steve Rebillard for ABC Sport, and the winner today will go on and meet Perth in Melbourne at this time next week. Well, these teams have met 4 times in regular season competition, and Brisbane have won on each occasion, but by an ever-diminishing margin. Richard Agus, it should be pretty close today.
Certainly should be. Both teams have been affected by Australian under-21 team commitments in New Zealand. The Brisbane Blades have lost their captain Greg Forbes through an injury, so that makes them vulnerable at the back. I still expect them to win because they've got two very good forwards in Jason Hale and Doug Bransgrove, who've scored a lot of goals, so I expect them to get over the line.
To the teams then, and in the absence of Greg Forbes, the Blades will be captained by goalkeeper Lindsay Woods, who at 25 is one of their senior players. It's a young side full of running, and Doug Bransgrove and Jason Hale will be looking to create something up front, while the red-headed fullbacks Darren Fowler and Bruce Robertson have let very little get past them this season. The Lakers will look to Kevin Ball for some on-field inspiration and some big hitting on the penalty corners. Wayne King is a recent AIS scholarship holder with plenty of ability, while 23-year-old David Clancy will be in goal. Well, if you weren't with us for the first semi-final last week, you may be unaware of the different rules that they're playing under in this National Hockey League series. And to summarise in brief the 3 main areas that you'll notice: 4 by 20-minute quarters instead of 2 35-minute halves. The scoring, this is the major difference: 2 points for a field goal, 1 for a penalty corner, 2 for a penalty stroke. So they're looking to reward field goals, and we now talk in points instead of goals when we give you the score. There are 4 reserves, and they're rolling substitutions. So once you have been benched, you can come back on. Well, it's a pretty windy day here in Newcastle. Karen Tighe has the latest on the conditions down on the pitch.
Yes, Steve, I don't think the wind is going to abate at all this afternoon, unfortunately. It's coming in from the southeast, which is behind me, so I can assure you we'll all be looking for some cover at half-time when they water the pitch. We don't want to get too wet. Down in Sydney presently, we've heard reports that it is raining down there. Up here, some ominous grey, murky clouds are lurking over there in the west, but we hope that the rain will stay away for this important semi-final between Brisbane and Canberra.
Thank you, Karen. Head for the shelter. We've sort of got some here. Our umpires today for this second semi-final: Sean Asen from Victoria and Ross Rideout of Queensland, calling the players onto the pitch. And we'll have the national anthem and then a start. The Canberra Lakers on the right in the red, white and blue, and Brisbane on the left in colours that we saw the Brisbane Broncos in rugby league, sort of come to be known as Brisbane colours. So we're just a minute or so away from a start. This wind will be drying out the pitch, and that is of some concern because it's AstroTurf and watered before the game. Standing by for the national anthem. And I understand there may be a break on the tape of the national anthem. We'll hope not, but we'll find out momentarily. Okay, the national anthem's not going to happen because indeed we've got a technical failure in that department. So David Clancy heads off to the right to defend the goal to our right. And it's growing darker by the minute, Richard.
Certainly is. It certainly looks ominous, to say the least.
Still, it's not going to stop these boys playing, and the positive side of it is that it might help keep the pitch to the water level that they would really require.
Yeah, certainly. And Keith Stevens, of course, number 5, is from Victoria, and he's been recruited by the Lakers as they go into attack.
We saw in the first semi-final last week a really frantic first 20 minutes, and if anything, under the new rules and new breakup of the game, it's possibly quicker. It's back to Kevin Ball, the Lakers captain.
Been carrying an injury, so we'll be keen to see how he goes in the first few minutes.
Graham McLennan on the far side with the headband. Defender there, Peter Walker for Brisbane.
This wind is so strong, it's almost a factor in the game. It's almost like kicking with the wind, the way that it's so powerful. And of course, that's favouring the Canberra Lakers.
What's your advice to captains? Run with the wind if it's strong enough to be a factor?
It's never been a problem in just about most of the time I've been playing hockey. It's never been a problem.
Up from the back come the Lakers through Adam Castro. And I see that Stephen Kelly is on for Canberra. He wasn't in the original starting 11. You'll notice he's got a big headband bandage around him. We'll draw attention to him when he gets close to the ball, but he suffered a fractured jaw last week.
Yes, I saw him play in a practice match in Canberra during the week against the Australian under-21 team. And he seemed to be all right, and so it doesn't surprise me that he's in the lineup. As the ball goes to Adam Castro.
Castro to Stephen. Keith Stephen towards halfway. Bounce back off Brent Nichols and given straight to Nichols. Now John Robertson. Two Robertsons in the Brisbane team, but they're easy to tell apart. There's Kelly. Now he's got plaster around his head. It also goes under his chin, so the break can't be too bad.
It's almost impossible to see with that skin-coloured strapping. But talking to him in Canberra, he said he feels all right. He's just a bit concerned that he doesn't want to get another knock on it.
I'm sure he doesn't. We hope that he gets through the match unscathed. Greg Brown.
Good tackle by Kelly.
So long corner. Safely taken away by the Lakers. Jason Hale, player of great promise.
Scored a lot of goals too. He's really been in good form in this competition.
Fowler. Here's Kelly. Loses it. Lakers get it up over halfway for maybe the second time in the game. Pushed infield. Here's Kelly with a few options. Diving for it was John Woodley to break down that attack. Given back to the Lakers though. And on this side, it's Jason Hart. Keith Stephen. Might have been kicked by Bransgrove, not so the umpires.
It's an interesting number of players in this match who've come from other states. You've got a situation where John Woolley, there's Coach Ray Dorset from the Canberra Lakers. He's been coaching in the ACT for a number of years. As I was saying, John Woodley's originally from Tamworth, gone up to live in Brisbane. You've got Keith Stevens playing from Victoria, playing for the Lakers, so it's really a bit of a mix and match here this afternoon as players have changed to play in this competition.
Midfield with Kelly, the Lakers, but a free hit to Brisbane. It's with Brent Nichols. Top of the circle now with Bransgrove.
It's obstruction.
Kevin Ball, Wayne King. Neil Horgood, who would have played under you, Richard.
Yes, played in the 1986 World Cup team when we won the gold medal in London. He was in the Seoul Olympic team in '88. Very good left winger and very, very fast, and it's good to see him putting something back into the game by going into coaching.
Wayne King over the ball for Canberra. 5 minutes gone, no score. In fact, we've not even had a penalty corner.
Every time these teams have met, the scores have got closer and closer, as we mentioned in the preview. I wouldn't be surprised to see that again today. A lot of it will depend, and here's a chance for Jason Hart.
Fallen for Hart, defenders close in on him. Robertson and Fowler, plays it wide to Kevin Ball. Graham McLennan it was. Now Greg Brown. Falls for Stephen. Brown again. Castro. Quick 1-2 to Kelly.
Just a little bit of an obstruction. Kelly tried to protect the ball, but it was obstruction.
And Brown just steadies it. Hale. Brown. Quickly tackled by Jason Hart. Jason Hart and Jason Hale out there.
On the same side of the field. Both very young players. Both will be looking to impress. Australian selector John McKinnon is here today, and all these players will be hoping to impress him because there's a number of teams that are going to be selected in the next 6 to 8 months.
Hale leaves it for Darren Fowler. Squirted out by Castro. They come to Nichols. Now Woodley.
Good play.
Now this is John Robertson. Keep going, says the umpire. He fell, not tackled. Unfairly. Gallagher, board for Stephen.
Good play.
Kelly's with him.
Just didn't have the control, though. It was very good play by the Lakers, but now they could be in trouble on the counter-attack.
Brown fires it up quickly to Hale.
A little stick check on Adam Castro.
Kevin Ball plays it up quickly for Kelly and out off the stick of Ludwig.
Just shows you how strong this wind is. This ground is drying out so quickly. It's going to be dry by quarter time, so a little bit of rain wouldn't go astray for everybody except you and I, Steve.
That's right. It's a tarpaulin here and not much else. Brown.
Off his foot, off Gallagher's foot in the middle of the field, so it'll come back. Another young player, Nichols.
No goals scored yet, so no points. We'll tell you more about the point scoring system as it happens. Castro allowed to run up towards halfway. Stephen looks for someone upfield. Gallagher won't be able to catch that. Well, put that slide in now. I tell you what, when this AstroTurf dries out, that'll hurt.
Yes, one of the problems when it dries out, there's like a static effect between the ball and the ground, and also some of the footwear catches. And here you see Gallagher diving.
Get a grass burn in the second quarter. The wind is certainly trying it out at a great rate. We're on the 25. Castro over the ball for Canberra. And there's an injury, I think, to John Woodley.
Yes, there'll be an interchange. The play won't stop, I wouldn't think, unless the umpire deems.
Cameron Fraser comes on, number 8.
That's the advantage of the rolling substitution. John Woodley can come off and coach and manager Ken Baldwin there having a look.
Played in first time to nobody by Castro. Well, there really hasn't been a scoring opportunity to speak of yet.
No, there hasn't. Both defences have been on top. Some good tackling by the defenders.
Castro looking for a push in the back there, not given though by Ross Wright out on this side. And this is Rod Stevenson, been quiet till now.
He's a player from Goulburn. I've never seen him play before, so it's interesting that he's come from Goulburn to play for the Lakers, which is good to see. Country hockey getting support in the program.
Castro plays it back for Wayne King. Through ball.
Well, that was a good ball. McLennan probably should have made more of that.
Comes to Keith Stephen. And Alden's on that side. McLennan couldn't control.
Andrew Alden's a very clever player. Dropped out of hockey in the ACT for a while. It's good to see him back playing for the Lakers.
One of these new rules coming into play now.
Yes, because the ball deflected off a Lakers player. Anywhere in the field, it's now a long corner, so we'll see the ball taken from the 5-yard spot.
Brisbane then with a chance to attack.
The deflection.
So lifted in and...
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't a deflection, it was lifted.
Stephen. Oh, and getting a stick on it was Greg Brown. Needed to. There was plenty of Canberra attackers ahead.
Not 5 yards from the free hit. So has to be taken again.
Ludwig to Fowler.
You're too slow, Darren.
Slipping
Fowler
in was
then.
Jason Hart. Yes. Here he is again, Hart. Through the legs of his opponent, Hale.
Yes, originally from Darwin, Jason Hart moved down to Canberra. That'd be a culture-shocking climate, wouldn't it, from Darwin to Canberra?
Not off a defender that time. So from 16 yards. Bransgrove hoping for it. Keith Stephen did a good job to control that. Deflected on. Here's Kelly.
Dangerous play, yes, and good call by the umpire. they allow that to go, it just becomes too dangerous.
Brown, but Kelly again. Well, he might have a broken jaw, but he's having a fair bit to say about the way this game's going. Can he get a reverse stick cross in?
Oh, should have been a goal.
Might still fall for Gallagher.
Oh, good defence.
Lindsay Woods at the last line, had to be good and was. And here's Cameron Fraser. His teammate jumping out of the way.
Yes, that should have been a goal, but Lindsay Woods, the goalkeeper for the Blades, have just been included in the Australian team that's going to India in January. Call on to make the second save.
McLennan over there with Peter Walker. Walker winning out.
Peter Walker from Townsville.
A couple of boys from Townsville. Nathan Pardon still on the bench. He's also from the far north. I think we were warmer in Hobart last week, weren't we, Richard?
I have no question that we were warmer in Hobart last week. And here we see that rule again, another deflection over the goal line. John Robertson will take the hit in.
He's got to keep it on the ground as it comes into the circle. Oh, he beat a couple, then lost it.
Isn't it amazing what can happen? A few players are away because of their Australian commitments. It creates an opportunity for some other young players, and I'm sure that in front of the Australian selector, they're going to be very keen to play well. And of course, play well for their own team.
Walker and Robertson over there for Blades. Robertson intercepted by Kevin Ball. Bransgrove was diving for it behind him. Still with Brisbane though. Still no score. Ball again.
Fence has been very good so far. Lifted from the free hit. So it'll be taken from the sideline by Wayne King.
About 8 minutes left in this first quarter. 20-minute quarters, reminding you, and not 2 35-minute halves. Greg Brown.
Here's penalty corner. It's a stick check. Very good play by Greg Brown. As he dragged round the Lakers defence, he was stick checked. You see it here, into the circle. There's the stick check, which stopped him or prevented him from getting to the ball so to have a shot at goal. So umpire Ross right out toward the penalty corner.
Now Brown will take the drag in, and there's a dotted line outside the usual circle. If they allow the ball to be stopped initially outside that one, then it becomes a field goal. This is what they're doing, so they're going for the 2 points. And only a long corner results.
Yes, they went for the 2 point on the power play. Adam Castro's playing very well at left half, keeping Jason Hale, who's been a dangerous forward in this competition, keeping him quiet.
Hale and Fowler, the Brisbane Blades players in the corner, looking to drive it into the circle this time.
Another accidentally deflected over the goal line, so another long corner.
Fowler takes it, then Hale, and a chance to break out. Gallagher, Stevenson. Defenders close in. Oh, Fowler came back well and forced it out right on halfway, right beneath us. Castro.
Umpire called it, indicated it was a shepherd, which prevented the Brisbane player from getting to the ball.
Wind whistling across our microphones, as you can probably hear. That's it. And off his line comes Lindsay Woods for the clearance. Keith Stephen, Gallagher, plenty of defenders there. John Robertson, Bruce Robertson, the vice-captain.
It's some very good tackles made in defence from both teams.
McLennan, blocked by Walker. Still they duel, McLennan.
Good umpiring, allowed the advantage. Good umpiring by Sean Asian.
Gallagher trying to penetrate the circle, and we've got another stick check.
Another stick check, penalty corner. With the wind being this strong, running with the wind is obviously a whole lot easier than running into it, so it'll be interesting to see how that develops as the game goes on.
Coming on is Zach Hawes for the Lakers.
That's a penalty corner move. Zach Hawes would come on from the bench, go straight into the penalty corner variation, and I won't be surprised if he's not involved in this. As you can see, he's a specialist stick stopper.
Now they go for the 1 point or the 2. Andrew Aldens to push in. Oh, they've mucked it up, and it's fallen straight to Cameron Fraser. Kelly with a tackle, did enough to force it out.
Of course, that's one of the problems with bringing somebody off the bench to go into a specialist role. Maybe they're not warmed up or tuned into the game.
Ludwig has given away possession. Keith Stephen on halfway. Well, only a couple of minutes left in this first quarter, and some contrast to last week, Richard, where the first 20 minutes was just awash with scoring opportunities.
Fantastic game the first quarter last week. The goals from Greg Corbett, the upright being hit and the crossbar being hit and goalkeepers making saves. So there's another deflection for another long corner at the other end.
You'd find players actually playing for that now, wouldn't you?
Well, you would do if you're getting close, because it certainly transfers the ball at the other end very quickly.
Fraser, Robertson. Flat stick tackle from Keith Stephen was good enough.
Yeah, that's just experience.
Gallagher gave it back though. Nichols in. Gallagher again. Fall for McLennan. Not quite, because back there is Peter Walker. And Robertson.
Peter Walker's having a good game. Ball bobbed up, so it's dangerous, so it's a free hit to Kevin Ball. Or Jason Hart went for the very difficult trap.
Between his legs.
Yes.
Well, it was a blind attempt, really. Brown wanted some obstruction. Umpire not interested. It's come back to him. And quickly taken a free hit for Canberra too quickly.
Yes, had to come back a long way. The free hit was taken too far away from the place.
Castro to Ball. We've got the umpires mic'd so we can hear their instructions to the players. It's nice to hear them in constant communication with the players, Richard.
Yes, it's very positive calls too. As Jason Hale, but a good tackle by Wayne King. Yes, it's interesting to hear what they are calling to the players.
Well, they're obviously both keen to play the advantage as much as they can. So
let the game roll. Give clear instructions to the players so they know what's going on. And it's interesting, they know all the players' names as well, which is very good to see.
Fowler, that's off the feet of Kevin Ball. So just outside the circle, it'll be Brisbane in possession. About 2 minutes left, first quarter. Nichols. Stephen attempting the tackle, still with Nichols, but he's retreating. Back to Robertson. Nichols again, Aldens for Canberra, and away they come. The Lakers.
Well, just wasn't precise enough for the pass, but it was a very good idea. I still think both teams could stretch the opposition defences by playing a couple of high strikers, particularly the way the game's being played.
Aldens over it for Canberra. Here's Stephen. Plays it forward. Stevenson won't be quick enough to gather that in, and going for safety was Paul Ludwig. McLennan. Kelly. This might fall all right for Jason Hart.
Yes, he just couldn't get onto it as he would have liked.
Yes, the reverse stick had nothing on it. Hale's ball goes to Ball. King. Bransgrove nearly stole it. Aldens.
It's a good tackle by Doug Bransgrove. He got a chance on the rebound.
Brisbane players coming forward. Fraser, Bransgrove.
Yeah, Keith Stevens, a very good tackle on Cameron Fraser in the middle of the field.
And the hooter sounds to end the first period. 20 minutes gone and no points on the board. Richard, well, it's easy to say that defence dominated, and yet it was still an entertaining passage.
It certainly was an entertaining game, but I just would like to see the the strikers play a little bit higher in these conditions because the wind is very, very strong, and I think there's a chance to beat some of these defenders who are quite slow. So if they can get in behind them and get a chance at these goalkeepers, we'll have an opportunity to see some goals in the second and third quarter.
So Neil Horgood talking to his players as the teams take their first break. Here's Karen Ty.
Thanks, Steve. With me, Stuart Deering, probably #1 goalkeeper for New South Wales. Just missed out on selection in the Barcelona games. A local boy here in Newcastle. You said the weather is complete contrast to yesterday.
Yeah, you're not used to it. Yesterday we were playing and it was that hot. We just, you walk out and you're sweating straight away. And then today it's just come over, just unbelievable.
You're playing with the Sydney Stingrays this year and you played with Tamworth last year. What is it like playing under these new rules as a player?
I think it's fantastic. As a goalkeeper, it gives us a chance to really show what we can do because most sides are striving for the field goal to get the 2 points. So we're involved in the game a lot more and I think it's just fantastic.
It's been a pretty physical game so far.
Yeah, well, it's to be expected. Both sides are a very physical side. They like to be very hard in their tackles, which is fair enough. I think it's the only way to play. He's got to play it hard.
New South Wales, as compared to the other states, they have to field two sides, Tamworth and Sydney. I said you've played for both. That could present some disadvantages, do you think, having to spread the talent between two sides?
Yeah, it does. We're a bit unfortunate that we have two. We split our state side in half, but on the other hand, we're exposing a lot more players to this level of hockey. So in the end, it could work around different that we're exposing more players so we get better players playing at this level.
And you're getting married in January, I hear.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
You said you've had a tough year this year. You've missed out on selection in Barcelona. I know the team's going to India in January. You're hoping for better times in 93?
Oh, yeah, I'm just looking, if I keep playing the way I am, I'm very happy the way things are going. 93 is a new year, so that's all I can do is just keep hoping and keep training hard.
Thanks for your time.
No worries. Thanks, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. And Stuart Deering, well, he's got a couple of good goalkeepers ahead of him, hasn't he, in Damon Deletty and Lachlan Dreyer, who we saw last week, as we've taken the Brisbane bench there.
Yes, one of the things we're not short of in Australian hockey is goalkeepers, because even in the Brisbane side with Lindsay Woods, who's been included in that team to go to Bombay in January, and of course Peter Knoll from the Adelaide Hotshots. So there's 5 very good goalkeepers, plus 1 or 2 up-and-coming young goalkeepers. So that's one thing we're not short of in Australian hockey. As we see some of the Lakers, there's Jason Hale. He's a young player who's come into the Brisbane team for this competition, scored 12 goals, or 12 points, I should say. I still keep calling them goals. Probably got something to do with my age. But Jason is a very promising young forward, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes in the next quarter.
Well, let's have a quick look at the breakdown of the penalty corner situation in that first quarter. They both awarded 1, and you see they both went for the, a 2-point attempt by Brisbane. It's hard to say exactly what Canberra were doing with theirs because they mucked it up. I think it was going to be a 1-point attempt,
I think they were going for the 1-point attempt, which is what a number of them have tried to do in the first quarter and maybe the second quarter, is get the odd point on the board and then later in the game go for the 2-point play. Because as we saw last week, the Redbacks from Melbourne had 16 penalty corner attempts, scored none, and paid the penalty at the end of the day.
See if we can listen in on Ray Dorset.
As Keith made mention, okay, obviously they want to work down this right-hand side. We want to work down our right-hand side as often as possible. So it means that we want to transfer the ball as quickly, okay, particularly on the free hits. Rather than look this way as the first option, okay, let's get it to the right and get it going that way. Let's use Keith. If the play opens up and we're coming down this left-hand side, particularly tackle, Kelt, okay.
A little bit of eavesdropping.
And
I think they'd be content to, be happy to be on level terms at quarter time with the favoured team. Brisbane having won the competition last year and comfortably ahead at the end of the regular season games.
Yes, I think as the season's gone on, Ray Dorset's done a very good job. He's got 3 players missing from this lineup who are away with the Australian under-21 team. And of course that upsets the balance of the team. But as we said in the call, it gives other players the opportunity, and we're seeing that in this game. From the Brisbane point of view, they've lost 1 player, Max Diamond's Australian under-21 team in Wellington, but the player they're really missing is their captain, Greg Forbes. He gives them a lot of stability at the back, and he's a fullback who's capable of going forward, has played in England and in Queensland, of course, and for a number of years, and they're certainly miss him today.
Brisbane finished with 10 wins and 2 losses to Canberra 6 and 6. The margin was fairly noticeable there. Brisbane's 2 losses were one one each to Tamworth and Sydney, the weaker sides in the group. So it's hard to always draw a decent line through form, isn't it, when you look at the results across the season?
When you get to the semi-finals, things really change.
So they're back on for the start of the second quarter. And this is interesting. We were talking about this before the game, whether the teams would change over at quarter time and half time. And because they did last week in the first semi-final, and it doesn't look like they're going to here. I think the two divisions were playing under a different rule, weren't they?
They were. They decided, the coaches obviously decided to play the same way each half.
Umpires are happy. Ross Rideout blows time on, and the back pass taken by the Brisbane Blades. Hale just losing out to Castro.
Yeah, Castro's been too good for him so far in this match.
King. And Aldens can't trap it.
John Woodley's back on, so obviously his finger is okay.
We had a pretty good view of him as he came off. I don't think it was dislocated. He must have just got a bad knock. He had one of the fingers bandaged, but well enough to continue. Keith Stephen for Canberra Lakers. Scoop forward. Robertson's
a bit silly there. He had plenty of time to play the ball safely and keep it under control and keep his team in attack.
McLennan. Midfield needs some help. There weren't too many options. He went for the only one, which was Jason Hart.
Oh, good trap and good move by Jason Hart.
Kicked away by Lindsay Woods, and he's picked up John Woodley.
Neville Newell's come on the left wing, another young player who was a very promising player early in his career.
Well, Newell scored a two-pointer against Canberra the last time they met a fortnight ago. The score was 4-3. Gallagher. Back to ball, forward again.
John Woodley just knocking the ball back to Keith Stephen. Keith Stephen to take the free hit. Jason Hart, there's a blind turn, goes inside, gets the ball in the circle, but again, Stevenson tried to make a very difficult trap in the middle of the circle.
Still no score. Another 5 minutes gone. Back to King. Ball. Finn's keeping away from him. He could have come up over halfway. Now it's with McLennan. Can he get a cross in?
Oh,
the goalkeeper's missed it. And had to be.
Missed from there.
Well, that was Rod Stevenson who had the golden chance. I heard it hit netting and I thought it was a goal for a moment, but it was...
There it is on the replay.
Everybody missed it.
They all went for it. How they missed from there. But in that scramble, Darren Fowler's been injured. Ray Dawson looks on. He'd be concerned with that miss.
Fowler, it's a 21-year-old from the Southwest United Club, Brisbane. And he's going to be fine.
Yes, you can't afford to miss opportunities like that.
Keith Stephen again. Gallagher up over the 25. Came off a defender.
I have to say, been a little bit more impressed with the Lakers forward line than I have with the Brisbane Blades. Their forward line has been a bit uncertain. People like Jason Hale has really struggled to get hold of the ball.
King wide to Aldens. Aldens caught going the wrong way, really. King played it ahead of him and Aldens was on the retreat. Brisbane up towards halfway with Walker. McLennan scoops it forward. Here's Stevenson with a chance to atone for his early.
There's another one.
This time off.
Just over the goalkeeper by Jason Hart.
Well, that's two chances in a couple of minutes that they should have put away.
Here's a chance here, but the goalkeeper made him rush, and he's just put it wide. They should be 4 points to 0.
Castro to King. Putting a bit of pressure on in defence of Brisbane, and it's paid off for them now as Brown comes up with it on the 25. Works his way towards the circle, cross now, and nobody there.
Yeah, Doug Brandgrove's got an edge on it, and then it deflected off the Lakers stick, so it'll be a long corner hit in from Neville Newell.
Brown. So the free hit to be taken just outside the circle by Neville Newell. Bransgrove's waiting in the middle.
Lifted.
So those free hits must come all the way along the ground, Richard, when they're taken into the circle.
Yes, otherwise it's too dangerous. There's so many people in the circle.
Ludwig takes it for Brisbane.
It's amazing how the game changes once you get to the semi-finals. Throughout the round matches, there's been a lot of goals scored. Of course, as soon as you get to the semi-finals, things tighten up and defences get a little tighter, and suddenly goals and points just become a little more difficult to score.
Brisbane players wanted some retribution against Hart, who was delaying the free hit take. Hales missed it. Canberra's ball. Castro. And ball. Kelly.
Yes, good play.
Wouldn't wish a broken jaw on him all the time, but it's not affecting his play. He's going very well. Hart.
Good defence.
Brown. It's Canberra having the better of the match so far against predictions.
Yes, they certainly are, and they certainly should be 4 points up. They played very well and just haven't reaped the rewards. And it has to be said that this ground is drying out so quickly. The ball's starting to bounce a bit too, which is another factor.
Ball. Brent Nichols towards the 25. Pretty congested there.
Yes, the players are getting back and filling up those spaces in the middle of the field.
Another free hit for Brisbane. Just inside the 25. You might have heard Ross right out. Nichols. Play on, says the umpire. Brown beats one.
Free hit just outside the circle. Darren Fowler will take this. He'll try to get the ball hard and flat through the circle. Deflected off a Lakers defender, even though it went in the goal, so it'll still be a long corner. Just explaining that deflection, the ball must be played by an attacker inside the circle for it to be a goal, or in this competition, points.
It doesn't matter if the defender's inside the circle. If it's initially hit from outside, no, it's not going to be a goal. Coming up to take this free hit, Woodley. It's along the ground, Brown.
The defences have been right on top in this competition, even though we've seen two very good chances go begging by the Lakers.
Up they go, Ball and Brown. Hale.
Oh, good ball,
it
should
well.
be a goal. Offside. Probably heard the call in the effects microphone, he was offside. Beautiful pass from Jason Hale. Found Dougie Brangrove standing on his own, but he was offside when he received it.
The offside rule in hockey only works inside the 25, and similar to soccer, Richard.
Yes, that's right. You need two players between you and the goal line. Usually one of them's the goalkeeper, but it doesn't have to be.
Still no score, deep in the second quarter.
Well, it was a very good idea by Stephen Kelly. He was going to dummy over the ball by stepping over it, but unfortunately he kicked it with his heel.
Brown for Brisbane.
Off the feet.
Hart not allowed to continue with it. Fowler. Hale. Castro for Canberra.
One of the best of the field, Adam Castro. Played very well at left half.
Paul Ludwig. Well, that was nearly how Kelly got hurt last week. He was standing about 6 or 7 metres away from a free hit, and it was accidentally lifted straight up into his face and broke his jaw. He doesn't want another hit on it. Castro back for King. Aldens has kept it in well.
Oh, it's a good ball.
Oh, it's kicked by Gallagher, I think.
Yes, you're right.
Another wasted chance. Not as bad as the 2 missed goals, but he could have made more of it. Stevenson. Still with Canberra. Back they come to ball. Off McLennan's stick. A breakdown of the territorial advantage. I think it'd be with Canberra, Richard.
It certainly would be, and I think as I see John Robertson coming back on for the Brisbane Blades, I think Coach Neil Horgood would be a little concerned with his forward line. I'm quite surprised he hasn't played himself, Neil.
Keith Stephen to Aldens, who was just out of reach. For John Woodley, pushes forward, but ball will tidy up for the Lakers. It's fallen nicely for Gallagher. Here's McLennan. And have to give up the chase on that one.
Just too fast.
The pitch does slope away to the sides, so that it drains more effectively. So the ball can slip away from you in those situations. Aldens. Sometimes feel the Canberra support players are a little bit static. They're not always offering themselves in a running situation.
Yes, if they did the running, I'm sure they'd certainly penetrate this defence, because their forward line has been handling the ball quite well. But then you look at the scoreboard and you see it's still 0-0.
Kelly. Stephen Kelly.
Yeah, dangerous. He lifted it up into him.
Darren Fowler.
The umpires are always very strict on that, because it can lead to dangerous play.
Oh, it's controlled well by Bransgrove. Needs some help. Hale is up, and he runs straight into ball. Was looking for something. Has it been given?
Knocked the ball past him on his reverse. Yes, Kevin Ball's perfectly entitled to be there, even though he used his body. He's perfectly entitled to be there to make the tackle.
Keith Stephen for the Canberra Lakers. Here's a good ball. Oh, Hart.
Had every chance to get a breakaway. He kicked it.
It's a second trap that he needed to make in an enterprising situation. Hart's done well now, though. Stevenson. Quick change of possession. Once more. They're sharing it around in midfield.
Yes, they're not doing anything up in attack. Every time they go forward, it's either congested circle or one-on-one situation. They haven't really been able to beat this defence. Mind you, it's quite a useful defence, this Lakers defence, because you've got Castro and King and Ball and Keith Stevens.
Stevenson gets into the circle, and Lindsay Woods had to make the desperate dive. It's not dead yet. McLennan.
He's played well, Peter Walker.
Now Woodley out of the 25. Gallagher closes in, but he passes in time. This looks promising.
Good umpiring.
And Castro came up to make the interception and needed to. Brisbane was swooping forward in numbers. Aldens. Gallagher. That was a nice run, but didn't make much progress. Kelly flicks it for Hart. Well, they're trying things. Nothing's worked yet. Gallagher.
Good tackle by Brent Nichols at the top of the circle. Used his reverse stick, laid it flat, made the tackle.
Gallagher was pointing to his foot there to the umpire. I don't know what he was suggesting. Anyway, we'll stay with Hale as he makes his way up towards the 25. Bransgrove on his inside. Robertson. Keith Stephen heads for the sideline and safety.
Peter Walker overlapping from left half, trying to make something happen as the ball's lifted inside the circle, so it's a penalty corner.
Well, got about 5 minutes till half-time, and Brisbane, although they're against the breeze, doesn't count for that much in hockey. They'd be looking to make something count in the first 40 minutes.
I'd be surprised if they don't go for the one-point play here by trapping the ball just outside the circle and knocking it forward for Robertson to hit.
Brown will bring it in. Nichols might stop. Nichols.
Yep.
Taken and just wide.
Deflected wide.
It was Robertson. Brisbane vice-captain. King makes the diving hit, and this will be just out of the reach of Stevenson. Looked favourable for a moment. I think the wind got hold of it as much as anything.
A little stick check. Umpire Sean Asen indicates a stick check. The Lakers thought they were away as Cameron Fraser comes back on. Jason Hale
having a spell. It's another thing that speeds up the game, Richard, the rolling substitutions. They can maintain the pace for longer if they can, the running players get a bit of a break.
Yes, we've been playing that in Australian hockey for 6 or 7 years. It's just taken the rest of the world a long time to catch up. We're trying to get the international body to look at it for a long, long time, but they finally agreed. So as from now, in international hockey, we have rolling substitutions.
McLennan for Canberra.
Yeah, good play.
Works a good one too with Gallagher. He's into the circle now. Couple waiting. Kelly was back. And they've won a penalty corner.
Chris Gallagher and McLennan out there have played very well. Here's McLennan here. Gets inside the circle. Goes onto the foot. Penalty corner.
I think it was off Ludwig. On comes Zach Hawes again. Now, this didn't work last time. They made a meal of their earlier penalty corner attempt. Aldens goes over to do the push-in.
Kevin Ball can hit the ball very hard, so I'd be surprised if they didn't go for the 1 point here.
Ball is number 2. They broke early, the Brisbane defenders. Sean Asen was awake to that. Oh, he hit it pretty sweetly, did Kevin Ball, but the defence got to him very smartly. They didn't break, but they certainly made quick progress to the edge of the circle. Still with Canberra, though.
Yes, it was good running by Bruce Robinson as Zach Hawes comes off after completing the stick track.
Still no points. Well, it has been the lowest scoring division, hasn't it, Richard?
Yes, they haven't got anywhere near the number of points that the Southern Division has got. If the highest goal scorer in this division has been Doug Brandgroves with 18, whereas in the other division there was a number of players who scored more than 8. They were in the high 20s, including Greg Corbett, who was up around 30.
Run by Woodley for Brisbane out of defence. So they're into the Canberra half, but only a couple of minutes left in this second quarter. Still no points. And Canberra may well rue the 2 golden opportunities they had in this quarter.
Yes, you'd have to. Let's get Wayne Blazjak has just come on the left wing. He's replaced Jason Hart.
Blazjak just failing to trap. Pretty hard when you come on and the first ball you receive is hit at that kind of pace. Ball to Stephen. He's been busy in midfield.
Yeah, he's a good, very good player.
He wouldn't mind a spell, I'm sure. Kelly, didn't he turn that nicely? Stevenson couldn't go on with it into the circle.
Yeah, that was a classic example as we see Neil Hallgood in the red hat with a pensive look. It was a classic example of the turn that wouldn't have been allowed 5 years ago in hockey, but is perfectly permissible now, and it's been a good innovation in the game.
Ball to Stephen. McLennan.
They're having a great battle, aren't they?
Yeah. McLennan. Bransgrove came back to try to make the tackle. Now it's with Walker.
A little untidy.
Aldens and Gallagher. Minute or so left until half-time. Kelly. Oh, well blocked by Lindsay Woods. Kelly's been one of Canberra's best, Richard.
Oh, he certainly has. He played very well. The Lakers have been clearly the better side, but when you look at the score sheet, still 0-0.
As we mentioned at the top of the show, they've played each other 4 times so far this season. Brisbane have won every time. They started out with a 10-0 win, I think.
Yes, it did, and the last time I think it was 4-3. So
yeah, it went 10-0, 8-2, and 4-2 and 4-3, I think.
The ball was lifted as it was hitting from the sideline, so it'll be a free hit to Brisbane.
Those scores suggest that Canberra have been learning about Brisbane each time they've played. Stevenson. Robertson in defence, but it's gone straight to ball. So the defence reading the attacking passes pretty well in this passage. Gallagher tries to play it back for McLennan, but that's all there'll be in this second quarter, and still no score, Richard.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's really a surprise to me that in this level of competition there's no score, but as we saw at both ends of the field there's some goals missed, but you'd have to concede that the Lakers should be at least 4 if not 6 points up. But Graham McLennan, as we see coming off, he will know that the team that he's playing for, the Lakers, missed some very, very good chances. But on the other hand, the goalkeepers have made 1 or 2 good saves. And then we see Stephen Kelly come off. He's been a good player for the Lakers. And as we mentioned in the call, he's had a broken jaw and he's had that taped up.
And David Clancy in goal for the Lakers really hasn't had too much to do.
No, he hasn't, and that's not surprising because the Lakers' defence has been very, very good.
Karen Ty is with umpire Ross Rideout.
That's right. Well, we've talked about play from a player's perspective, but now from an umpire's. What is it like administering the rules, these new rules on the field?
Karen, the new rules are designed obviously to open up the game and hopefully see more goals scored. That hasn't happened today. The major reason is because both defences are very strong, and it's been a to and fro battle in midfield. The 2 centre halves seem to be having a great tussle. So while we haven't seen it today, the rules are designed for more goals to be scored.
I suppose that's one thing we could expect, though, being a semi-final, and it is such an important game that defence will probably dominate.
Usually these sides have a couple of times during the year to play each other so they can sort each other out, and the games tend to be a bit more open. But this being a one-off game, and of course for the loser that's the end of it, they tend to be a lot tighter. Last week's game when Perth played the Melbourne Redbacks was a lot tighter than the games they had played against each other previously.
You've been umpiring, I think you said, since the late 70s.
I'm not exactly sure.
What are your impressions of these new rules?
I think they're excellent. What they're designed to do is excellent. It hasn't quite happened, I think, how the administrators would like it to, but I see it coming to fruition soon. The problem is that every time someone designs something in attack, defences these days are very, very strong, and I noticed that the Canberra side at penalty corners now are zoning very well. It makes it very hard for the new penalty corner rule to be implemented. It's got to be done very, very fast, and Canberra have obviously got a good defence at that area.
Having quarters instead of halves, we have 3 breaks, that means. Do you think this makes it a faster game? I mean, it's something we want to try and get the public in and involved as well.
It definitely does, Karen. It makes it a faster game. It makes it harder for us to umpire, but it means that our concentration level is shorter in that we just have to concentrate hard for 20 minutes, then have a break and then concentrate hard for 20 minutes. It's the same with the players. They go hell for leather for about 20 minutes, and then with the rolling sub rule too, that helps. So we are seeing it a lot faster and a lot quicker.
Can you see, will there be a need for any further modifications from an umpire's point of view?
Probably need to be a lot fitter, I think. But no, I think we've probably got it together fairly well. The new rule internationally with stopping the ball outside the circle has thrown a little bit of a spanner in the works in that it wasn't a rule we've been using up until recently, but I think we're getting to it now, and I think the players are handling it quite well. But it'll be interesting to see. I think we need probably another season.
And do you think we'll see any points scored in this second 2 quarters?
Well, I hope so from the public's point of view, but yes, it's a very tight game. These two sides know each other pretty well, and it'll be hard to score. I think I know it's often said, but whoever scores first will probably win.
Good umpiring for the rest of the match.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks a lot.
Thank you to Ross Rideout and Karen Ty. Ross being modest there, I think he's already pretty fit. He stepped up to do that interview after a pretty busy first half and he wasn't even puffing. They're in a 10-minute break. We're going to have some analysis of the first half in a moment, but right now it's back to our Sydney studios.
The summer season of Australian Baseball League is on. Follow your local team around the country on ABC. Our top commentators bring you the heat, the excitement and thrills of games throughout Australia. There's highlights at 10 Sunday morning. But to catch the whole game, watch ABC 11 o'clock Thursday for Australian Baseball League.
ABC Books presents the 1992 Australian Cricket Almanac, a comprehensive yearbook of all facets of the Australian domestic cricket season, the Australian Wisdom, including all international, Sheffield Shield, women's, grade and schoolboy matches. This unique cricketing companion contains a wealth of statistics, player of the year information and scorecards and summaries. The 1992 Cricket Almanac, Australia's most authoritative cricket reference, is available from all ABC shops, ABC centres and good bookstores.
Discover more of your Australia as we take a bird's eye view of Tasmania's breathtaking and spectacular World Heritage Wilderness. Maybe a trip off the beaten track is more to your liking. Then join us in South Australia's Gawler Ranges. For a taste of the outback on the edge of the outback, visit Longreach, the home of the Stockman's Hall of Fame. In its heyday, it was the centre of Victoria's gold rush. Today, Ballarat is still a treasure to behold. We've got Australia covered on holiday. 8 o'clock Tuesday, ABC.
1, 2, 3, 4. Dig, Emmett Smith. Oh, yeah. Taylor to the pad. See ya later. What a pull. He gaps. Go out. Nice head. Nice head.
Experience American football with Don Lane. 11 o'clock Tuesdays.
Yes, and also coming up on ABC Sport next Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock, a 1-hour special on the Paralympic Games for athletes with an intellectual disability, and that was held this September in Madrid. I had the pleasure of spending the 7 days of competition with the Australian team. It was an immensely successful time for the Australian team because they topped the overall medal count with 31. Here's a little of what to expect.
Decide, and they'll judge you, they'll irritate your skin like a window when the rain is coming in. Thank you for seeing the best part in me. Never have come this far if you didn't believe in me. To me, if you don't do it now, they'll take your...
And that special documentary coming up on ABC Grandstand next Saturday at 5 p.m. The Paralympics from Madrid from this year, just a couple of months ago. A special program, don't miss that one. Well, at half-time, Richard, your impressions of Brisbane and Canberra, they've not been able to put the ball in the net, but they've been a couple of ideal chances that may be rude.
Yes, I think the Lakers would be kicking themselves. They probably should be 4 to 6 points in front. They've had 2 very good chances, and they'll probably be really kicking themselves by missing those 2 chances. On the other hand, I've been a bit disappointed with the Blades forward line. They don't seem to have any cohesion. Some of the players that we're looking for, like Doug Bransgrove, Jason Hale, haven't seen anything from those 2 players, and they're really going to have to lift in the second half if they're going to win this game. But as I say, it's still 0-0, and I'm sure Canberra are really going to could even rue those misses.
There have been a paucity of penalty corner opportunities as well. Let's have a look at the breakdown, and you'll see that they've both been given 2 penalty corners. The 1-point attempts, Brisbane have gone for 1. Canberra have tried to convert both their penalty corners with the 1-point attempt, and Brisbane have tried for 1 of each. And Canberra, well, their drill on the first one was a shocker, as we mentioned.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they all go for the 1-point attempts to try and get on the board to start with. So I think that wouldn't surprise me if that continues in the third quarter.
And Canberra had a couple of opportunities in that second quarter that they missed, and they were bad misses too. Let's have a look at the second of those 2. It was a miss for Jason Hart.
And here we see Stevenson knocking the ball across, and Kelly, who's played very well, just chips the ball over, and Jason Hart tries to lob the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper Lindsay Wood came out and put him under pressure, but unfortunately for Jason Hart, the ball just went to the right of the upright. So that was another good chance that went begging.
Neil Horgood, what would you expect he would have been saying to his team, who are favoured to win here?
Yeah, I think he'd be trying to lift the forwards to get some cohesion. They seem to be either going on their own or making a lot of mistakes inside the attacking 25. But I think he'd be exhorting them to play a whole lot better and get the ball under control. Their defence has been quite good, as we saw from the scoreboard. So as we go back to the pushback situation, where we see Stevenson standing there waiting to get the cue from the umpires to push the ball back.
So they have changed ends now. Canberra in the red, white and blue, running left to right. Still nothing on the board, as you can see. It's not really for a lack of opportunity, though. Keith Stephen. See, they've given the pitch another watering. In fact, we've got the fire brigade doing the watering here because we've got a problem with the watering system. And they've done a pretty good job in the 10-minute break. The break's under the new format of 5 minutes at quarter time, 10 at half and 5 minutes at three-quarter time. John Robertson on this side for Brisbane. As for the lateral pass, and it's come up okay for the Canberra Lakers. The through ball goes straight to Walker.
And he's been one of the best players, and I'm not surprised to see this player, Cameron Fraser, on the right wing, because that's his preferred position. And as Jason Hale has been struggling, they'll be looking to get something from Cameron, but there was nowhere to go then.
Certainly got the stick skills, though. He's impressive over the ball, Richard.
Yes, he's a very good athlete. He was in the Australian Institute of Sport for 1 year with Perth. Gone back to Brisbane to complete his study. A little bit of aggravation there between Ball and Brown.
Fraser makes his way into the circle. Oh, that was caught on the chest, I think, by Clancy.
Top save. It came off the goalkeeper's chest onto an attacker. A penalty corner. That's a breach. Good play by Fraser. Knocks the ball back. Brown absolutely cannons that off into the goalkeeper. Courageous save.
That's putting your body on the line, isn't it?
Who'd be a goalkeeper?
You wouldn't have, well, he said he didn't have a chance to put his glove up, so just took it on the chest. Obviously, there's padding there. Now, what will Brisbane go for here? Brown. Robertson. 1 point attempt, and it goes off Robertson. John Robertson had cannoned off the keeper. It's a 1 point goal. Yes, and the umpires confirm that it's 1 point, but it's been a long time in coming.
It doesn't surprise me as we watch the replay. The ball stopped just outside the circle and absolutely cannoned by Robertson into the goalkeeper. And of course, John Robertson was there to deflect it up into the net. And so it's a 1 point play because it was still in the penalty corner situation. Here we see it from the other angle. Some hard chasing by Kelly. Good save by Clancy, but Robertson, number 14, was there.
Wayne King on the line, unable to do anything about that. So, 1-0 the score. John Robertson there looks a little older than she's 21 years.
Doug Bransgrove.
Looks like the game's opening up in this third quarter. Bransgrove's attempted cross was hit straight into Wayne King. Woodley. That goes harmlessly over the side.
This was going to have to be a very good trap by Greg Brown. It's been taken back and taken again because the Brisbane players weren't 5 yards away.
Keith Stephen, midfield for the Lakers.
Good deflection.
Stephen Kelly.
Blazerjack now.
Was hardly on the park in the first 2 quarters.
Originally from Perth. He's a state junior in WA, now living in Canberra.
Castro's pass is easily met by the Brisbane defence. Is Robertson, the goal scorer.
Yes, good pass.
Stevenson. And a good tackle by Brisbane defender in Paul Ludwig. Sloppy work. Yes, sloppy work by Canberra. King retreats with it for the Lakers. And Brown. Fraser. Beats one. Bransgrove. Surely.
Yes,
And it's Robertson again. Well, Bransgrove missed it, but they were numbers to burn for the Brisbane Blades. And they've set this third quarter alight.
Yeah, great play by Cameron Fraser. All the things we said at halftime that weren't happening in the Brisbane Blades forward line are suddenly starting to happen. Some careless play by the Lakers, and they really will be kicking themselves. We watch here now as the ball goes to Cameron Fraser on the right-hand side, drags inside King very easily, knocks the ball across with a little dummy. First time go by Bransgrove with miss, but Robertson was there again. So that's 3 points to Robertson in a few minutes in this quarter. Here it is again.
Had to dive to get the hit on the right side of his body. Didn't want to go with a reverse stick with the bouncing ball. And it's 3 points to 0 in favour of the Brisbane Blades. And now the job well and truly ahead of the Canberra Lakers, but they just weren't treasuring the ball enough there, Richard. No. They surrendered possession a couple of times.
As a famous journalist once said, treating it like millionaires. Ball tossed down the sideline, and Ray Dorset, the Lakers coach, would be very disappointed that his defenders have made so many errors in the first part of this quarter, but it's opened the game up.
Keith Stephen, midfield for...
Ooh, he's got him on the head.
Yes, that's John Woodley, who's copped a blow. He's okay, shakes his head, and it's not damaged. Just to see if anything was rattling, I think. McLennan.
Good play to Gallagher.
Gallagher at the back line. The cross is all right. Who can get a shot on it? Stevenson, maybe. Nothing on it.
Yeah, just didn't have the footwork, and the skills close in to get a shot on goal.
Woodley brought it up over.
There's a little tension coming into the game.
Woodley again. Has to come back, and so Walker leaves again for Bruce Robertson. Now John. Deflected up off a Brisbane stick to the umpire. Woodley. Robertson. Oh, well.
The umpiring's been very good in this game. Talking to the players, letting them know what's going on.
King under pressure.
The decisions have been very precise.
Aldens, well, that was a pass to the umpire on the sideline. Walker and Robertson. Walker through to Robertson, great pass. Turned straight into ball though. Aldens, they're looking a bit flat, Canberra.
They are, they've stopped running.
They're not expecting the ball. It's all with Brisbane, this momentum. Walker. Falls for Kelly. Blazercheck, the far side. Brisbane now, Brown. Hit straight into Kelly.
The fence is tightening up now. The Blades defence has been very good.
2 balls on the field. King kicks one off. Lifted forward from Ludwig. Brown.
Castro.
This was played straight into Castro, and he recovered quickly. Keith Stephen. Allowed to run before the tackle.
Get control, guys, come on!
And ball, that was a bit ambitious.
Still got plenty of time. They don't need to do anything silly. They just need to get back on track like they were in the first 2 quarters.
Stevenson, McLennan. Robertson stopped it. Little flick on from Brown, but only for Castro. Keith Stephen sends it wide. Blazicek in. No. Met by Paul Ludwig. 3
Very
points.
safe.
3 points to nil the score.
There's a chance.
McLennan.
Should have knocked it back at the top of the circle. There was people waiting at the top, but he elected to have a shot from a very acute angle.
McLennan takes the long corner and lifted on its way in. So again, they're finishing, leaving a fair bit to be desired, Richard.
Yeah, certainly, and that wasn't a good choice, good option by Graham McLennan. There certainly were people inside him. There's 2 balls on the field, but the umpire's ignoring it.
Fowler for the Brisbane Blades. Brown, one of their best.
Good option.
Fraser. That's fallen all right for Brown after Ball made the tackle. Oh, Brown's overrun it. Well, one of his few mistakes today.
There was an offside to umpire Sean Nations, brought the ball back. Don't agree with that decision. The ball was a long way away, wasn't influencing the play. Could have easily waited to see if the ball was played in that direction as McLennan breaks away on the right.
Fell fortuitously for him. Here's Stevenson.
Yes, penalty corner.
Tackle from Ludwig.
Ugly tackle.
Not too subtle.
It's a deliberate breach inside the circle. You can see the push there and the ugly stick check. So there'll be a penalty corner. This gives the Lakers a chance.
Well, they need to get on the board after this early dominance in this quarter by Brisbane to take a 3 points to nil lead. Zach Hawes has come on again, as he has done for the 2 previous penalty corner attempts. So Hawes, if he stops it, will be setting up a 1 point attempt. Aldens drags it in. Well, it was meant to find its way more cleanly than that to McLennan. It's still with him. Shot on, blocked.
Another, yes. Obstruction inside the circle. The ball fell behind Robinson. There's a shot at goal by McLennan. No, he's decided to knock it back, and there's a shot by Gallagher. Good save by goalkeeper Woods, but the ball went through Robinson's leg for a penalty, another penalty corner.
So we'll see if they still go with a 1 point option here. Again, the goalkeeper having to save it with the chest. And coming off the line early was Robertson. Defenders sometimes do that to try and get a sense of what the play is going to be on the penalty corner. Blocked by Hawes. Nothing. It was a call from the umpire. They couldn't agree more.
Yes, he went for a variation, and I just wondered why he just didn't flick it himself. He's got a very good flick, Adam Castro. He went for the variation. I think it's the old saying, the bird in the hand's worth 2 in the bush here. I think they ought to get on the scoreboard first.
Bransgrove, Stephen the tackle. Keith Stephen did well. First stick pass to Kelly. Robbed by Brown. Saw that pass coming.
Hard. Really starting to work hard. Greg Brown in the middle of the field.
Fowler for the Blades. Just inside the Canberra half. Brown thought about scooping it. Still with Brown. Now Fowler.
Off a foot. It's a free hit to Darren Fowler.
Get right over here, mate.
All the way along the ground. Wasn't a bad hit in.
Yeah, just a little deflection just outside the circle. So it must have come off a foot.
So the Blades with it. Brent Nichols. They mucked around with it there, Fowler and Nichols. I don't know what they had on, but I don't think they knew themselves. Ball to King.
Woodley.
Woodley's got support here in Nev Newell. Penalty corner. It was a stick check, Richard?
I think it was a stick check, but then it also came up onto his leg, so it was a very good call by the umpire. As you saw Kevin Ball wandering back, probably pensively thinking about the decision, but knowing full well that it came off his leg. As we see Jason Hale come back on. Cameron Fraser gone off, which is a bit surprising.
Fraser's played well.
Thought he turned the game there in that 5-minute little piece, but maybe he's gone off to have a rest.
So Brisbane.
Gone for the power play on 2
Fowler.
points.
And Hale, well, he earns a long corner. So Brisbane on that occasion letting it travel outside the dotted circle. Could have gone for 2 points. Oh, that nearly fell for Newell. Chasing hard, but Gallagher gets there first. Aldens.
Good play.
This is looking promising. Hart.
Careless. It's in the air. Just too dangerous. Wayne Blazjack had a little time to trap that. Tried to do it in a hurry and pop the ball up in the air, and the umpire penalised him, and rightly so.
Ball for the Canberra Lakers. Kelly. Keith Stephen comes up to take it. Stole a couple of yards, I think, on the free hit.
He did.
Just outside, and it's taken too quickly.
Rolling ball. That's the second time. You called it right, Steve. Earlier on, there was a rolling ball on the free hit. He tried to do it again.
Oh, we could have caught that with an outstretched arm, I think.
The car nearly caught it in the car park.
Robertson. Aldens plays it back for Ball. Hart. Gallagher. He's beaten a couple there. And finally the effective tackle is made by Nichols. Aldens. Lifted. Time and again you see that wasted. That's a skill that moved. Did they work on that enough, do you think, Richard?
They don't work on it enough. Certainly there's been a lot of work done on at the Institute of Sport, because it was driving me mad there for a while, the number of errors that came from that.
Bransgrove should get the return pass. It's a beauty from Hale.
Should have had a go himself. He was on his 4-stick and running through the inside right position. He should have had a shot.
Kelly, the Canberra Lakers. Plenty of room midfield as it goes end to end. Blazercheck.
But again, another careless pass.
That little 1-2 that worked again, you see the turn on the ball that wouldn't have been allowed a couple of years ago.
Yes, and as he ran onto his 4-stick into the circle, the one thing he shouldn't have done is come back onto and passed it. He should have gone in and had a shot himself. But it's always easier from here.
Fowler. Player's having a breather, I think. It's slowed right down again. Brown. Just looking for the foot of Kelly.
Well, I think the Lakers are making it very hard for themselves by making errors. They had the chance on the breakaway then, but another unforced error.
4 minutes left, third quarter. And it's 3-0 to the Brisbane Blades. They've come alive in this third passage. Bransgrove. Seen a bit more of him in this quarter. Hale couldn't trap it. Castro's ball to McLennan, not controlled.
There's nothing hurts you more in sport than unforced errors.
Hale. Can he keep
outside.
it in?
No, he's going on outside. Umpire Sean Awesome was right there. They went 5 yards away.
Castro.
Zach Hawes.
Kept him on the field this time.
Yes, Kevin Ball's gone off to get some treatment. No, sorry, not Kevin Ball. Wayne King's gone off to get some treatment.
Brisbane's ball. Castro. Well, that's a pretty smart ball to Keith Stephen. Now it's with Nev Newell, though, for Brisbane. He's got some support inboard. And got a quick 1-2 from Woodley. Newell.
Off a leg, free hit outside. Blades will want to take this quickly, as they do. Well, it was a good pass from John Woodley, and Neville Newell just couldn't quite deflect it where he wanted it to. The game's coming alive now. Neville Newell just wanted to get a little more angle on the deflection.
And might have caused more of a problem for David Clancy. But still 3-0 in favour of Brisbane. All their points coming from the stick of John Robertson. Woodley to Newell. He's got plenty of energy, Newell. He hasn't had much time on the pitch. And the players would see on the clock there's only 90 seconds or so left in this quarter. So they're running hard.
To attack. Yes, they're looking for a chance, but again...
Well, Kelly de Blazicek wasn't happening. Fowler, Brown. Ball and Brown nearly having a disagreement. Keith Stephen. Gallagher, time enough for maybe one last raid, but not with a pass like that.
Peter Walker would have to be in the best 3 players for the Blades over the whole 3 quarters to date. Played very well. Jason Hart comes on. Bangrove.
He's surrounded by defenders and eventually lost out to Stephen. Now McLennan. Gallagher leaves it. It goes wider to Jason Hart. Hart's done well to get to the circle and beaten one flat stick tackle, kicked away by the keeper. And Robertson is good enough in the last line of defence. Newell loses out to Zach Hawes.
It wasn't 5 yards. You're going to be... Umpire's telling him to take it again.
And the hooter didn't really make a racket, but it was loud enough for the umpires to hear it. It was over a fair bit of shouting and whistling at the same time. But 3 points scored by the Brisbane Blades in that quarter, and they took a while to wake up, but when they did, they showed us some style, Richard.
Yes, they certainly did, and Cameron Fraser on the right wing did some very good combination work with their other forwards, and John Robertson scored the 3 points that have put them up at 3-0 at 3-quarter time. And to be quite honest, I think the Lakers might have lost their way, and they're going to need to lift a long way to get back into this game in the last quarter.
So the goals when they came were certainly good ones. John Robertson making it 3-0 in favour of the Blades at 3-quarter time. Here again is Karen Tighe.
Thanks, Steve. With me, John McKinnon, Australian national selector. And John, your impressions of the game so far?
Well, it was obviously very tight the first half, with both defences proving quite strong. I thought in the first half, really, the Lakers had the better of the opportunities. They had 2 really good chances of scoring, and if you miss out on taking advantage of those chances, then you pay the penalty, and that's what happened in the 3rd quarter.
Well, it's the first time this year for the National Hockey League season that we've seen a national team selected, the one to go to India in January. Does that lend itself, therefore, for you taking a look at performances, good performances in this league, warranting a position in the national side?
I guess this year, well, it's obviously the 2nd year of the National League, and we still haven't got quite to that stage, but indications are from now on the National League gets more and more and more important, particularly when we don't have a national championships. Certainly this year, the fact of some players not being involved in this National League made it a little difficult for them to be considered for the national team, and that will get more so in the future.
You've also had a hand in the selection of the under-21 side that's over in New Zealand currently. They're playing next weekend. Both sides here are missing those players. They're not here, they're over in New Zealand. What are your impressions of those, the future of our hockey?
Well, the under-21 side have just completed a week's training in Canberra prior to going to New Zealand, and I was fortunate enough to have a good look at the boys there, and they're going very well. These 2 teams have been affected by that, by those players being away, particularly the Lakers, with 3 of their forwards out, and it makes it extremely hard for them in the forward line. And the Blades have got Max Diamond from the half line missing, as well as a few injuries, of course. But the national under-21 team looked okay, but they will have a tough time in New Zealand. There's the best of 3 games starting next Thursday, and New Zealand at home, as we know in all sports, will be very, very difficult to play against. But I'd be pretty optimistic about our chances there.
Okay, best of luck, John.
Good, thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Karen. And John McKinnon casting his eye over the talent on display here, and amongst it, John Robertson of the Brisbane Blades, who scored the first goal. It came from a penalty corner.
Here's the push out by Greg Brown, stopped just outside the circle, as it must be. It's knocked forward, and then Bruce Robinson cannons it. Now, it's been saved by David Clancy, but it bounces away from him. He doesn't recover quickly enough, and, of course, Robinson's right there to knock the ball into the back of the net. Now, because that was a penalty corner, that's a one-point play.
And they play for that, Richard. They're expecting to get the rebound off the goalkeeper, aren't they?
Absolutely, because the goalkeeper is prone on the ground. Once they do make the save, sometimes it's very difficult for them to knock the ball away. And I was quite surprised to see that no one from the Lakers was there to clear the ball off the pads.
Well, barely 2 minutes after that, Robertson was in for his second goal. In fact, they were lining up to take this one.
Here we saw a careless pass out of defence by King. It goes to Greg Brown, who knocks the ball to Cameron Fraser. Now, here's a good dummy as he pulls inside Wayne King, turns him completely, and Cameron Fraser, another little dummy there with the stick, knocks the ball across, and it falls. A shot by Brangroves misses, but there's Robertson again, and he does it very well, as you could in the call, Steve, because he didn't try to use his reverse, got around on his forestick and made sure of it, and that's a field goal, and that's 2 points. That made it 3-0.
So Horgood, I think, a little happier than he would have been at quarter and half-time.
Harpo, as we know him, played on the left wing for Australia, played very well in the World Cup in 1986 in London, as I said earlier, and then played in Seoul and actually scored a goal in some of the semi-final matches. So he was a very good player for Australia and retired in about 1989-90, I think it was. It's good to see him going back into coaching, putting something back into the game.
I guess the difference in what's happened before us, Richard, is that Brisbane have taken their chances in Canberra with those two in the second quarter, let them go, and Brisbane converted, and that's borne out on the score sheet. Let's have a quick look at how the penalty corners have accumulated. So 4 apiece, and Brisbane have managed to convert one of their one-pointers.
Yes, as we can see, that they're pretty even. They are even 4 all, but it's just a chance of converting them. And what you've got, as you said, in the first half, as we called it in the commentary, the Lakers missed those 2 very good chances, one by Jason Hart and the other one by Stevenson, and they could pay the penalty for that. But it's still another quarter to go, and it's only 3-0.
Yes, two two-point goals, and Canberra will be in front. But it's Brisbane sitting on that 3-0 lead.
Cameron Fraser's back on the right wing for the Blades. John Robertson's back on the left, so they started with the same lineup that brought this those 3 points in the third quarter.
It's when you've been talking in goals for 20 or 30 years, it's hard to turn it on its head in one season. It's experimental legislation at this stage anyway, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you think the Europeans will come at it?
Probably not. Probably take them at least 5 or 6 years to come to grips with it, but it's something that we should persevere with. And I'm sure the people who are involved in the National Hockey League are very, very keen to turn this competition into a very successful competition. I'm sure they will. And one of the things they're looking at all the time is how to make the game more attractive and how to score more goals.
Keith Stephen for Canberra on the early attack for the Lakers as they need points. The umpire looking for the advantage. It didn't happen, so back it comes. Stephen plays it quickly to Aldens. Well, they worked it into the circle, but weren't quick enough on the shot taking. And playing for safety up the line.
It's probably not a bad idea by Cameron Fraser. There wasn't a lot of people there to help him. Of course, as we see, another careless mistake out of defence.
Ball intercepts for the Lakers. Aldens looks for someone ahead. McLennan he finds. Gallagher's on his outside, but so too is Hart.
But Robinson, ever sound in defence.
A few drops of rain starting to fall. We're coming straight in our commentary position.
If you want to be positive, you could think it would be better here than in Brisbane, where it's been hailing.
Graham Piper on the field for the Lakers. This is Brown now for Brisbane. Right up to the corner.
Brisbane aren't in a hurry they're quite happy to knock the ball up that end of the field.
Well, you want to be careful. It's too early to try and shut the game down.
It certainly is.
And you can bet that the Lakers will be throwing everything at it. I think Brisbane need at least one security goal. Gallagher for the Lakers. Aldens.
It was good play.
Can't get a shot on, was given a good shove.
Yes, he got away with it too.
Fowler it was with the effective tackle. He keeps looking around at the umpire, waiting to get called up. Well, it's not going to happen now. He's got away with it. Played off a Brisbane foot. Keith Stephen.
Of course, what they're arguing about, it was one of the Brisbane players who knocked the ball away when he was trying to take the free hit.
Lakers on halfway. Keith Stephen wants it. And he's played it up for Kelly. In come the defenders. Ludwig. Kelly's done well. And Fowler was the cool head at the back.
He's a cool head at the back, isn't he? He's made some very good tackles.
Castro. Not a bad pass in. And into the side from McLennan.
Throws his hands up in the air in anguish.
Comes out to 16 yards for Brisbane. Chance missed.
Yes, here it is. It's just gone wide. Interesting, there was a stick thrown there too.
I think Lindsay Woods was beaten on that occasion. Canberra coming forward with some pressure. Now it's Bruce Robertson relieving it. Bransgrove gets inside Piper. Robertson still. Oh, Piper did pretty well.
Yes, well done, Graham Piper.
Woodley. Oh, that could have been costly. Missed initially by the front line of defence.
Oh.
Fraser.
It took a little bit too long to get a shot away. Castro was able to make the tackle.
Aldens. Play on, says the umpire. Keith Stephen. He's done a lot of running in midfield today.
He's played very well. He's got all the experience.
Hart.
Not too much has got past Peter Walker.
Stephen again. Not much on. Oh, finds McLennan. It was probably the right option. McLennan didn't trap it cleanly enough, though. Stephen. Gallagher, top of the circle. But Robertson comes away for the Blades. Fraser on halfway, confronted by Castro. Played it into his foot.
Just tried to go through his legs. As we saw, went onto a foot.
Colder up here.
Certainly is.
You haven't got a scarf, have you, Richard? Or even a 2-bar heater would be handy. Woodley.
Here's good. Here's a chance for Fraser.
Fraser has Bransgrove. Tried to hit it first time. No, I don't think he got anything on that.
Just hasn't been in the play a lot, Doug Bransgrove. Tried very hard. Things just haven't gone his way.
Fraser's been quite creative. I think I'd be surprised if they pulled him off in this quarter, Richard.
You know, Jason Hale, who started on the right wing, hasn't really been involved in the play at all. Cameron Fraser's come on and made a few things happen, and that's what you need in these games.
Robertson. Looking for someone to make a run, and nobody's running anywhere. Robertson runs himself. Beat Piper for Zach Hawes came in and scared the benches with that pass.
You need to take a few chances and keep the ball in play.
Robertson.
It's when you're 3 down in the semi-final, you need to keep the ball in play, but there's 2 balls on, as we speak, 2 balls have come on. Ball boys have done a terrific job, but every now and again they get a bit involved in the game. Balls come from everywhere.
So around 12 minutes left. And it's still 3-0. The lights are on. It is quite dark.
I hope it's warmer than this in Perth, because it's freezing here now.
Missing home, eh, Richard, or just the weather?
I better say I'm missing home. My wife might be listening.
Keep the 5, says the umpire.
Yes.
Sean Asen.
Fraser again. Oh, it was a good tackle by Kevin Ball.
Ball belts it up the line. Luckily finds McLennan. That's all right. And Hart. He's a long way from his right wing. It doesn't matter if he creates something.
Yes,
as he might do. Gallagher, surely.
Oh, no.
Saved by Clench. By Woodley. Woods.
Chris Gallagher would kick himself for that. There's another chance gone begging. We make this trap in the circle. You won't get him any easier than that.
Yeah, Lindsay Woods, the captain, did well.
Yeah, it should have been lifted over him, though. Just a little slice on the ball, and the ball goes into the top of the net.
Wanted to call him Woodley, who's the New Zealand keeper. Saw a bit of him in Barcelona.
Of course, there's another Woodley on the field, John Woodley. There he is right there.
Thanks for helping me out with that excuse, Richard.
Graham Piper.
Woodley now. Piper. Gallagher. So the Lakers really in this match have had 3 chances that they should have buried.
Certainly.
And that would have had them up, well, 6-3 at least.
Yes, they'd only have themselves to blame if they lose this match, because when you think back to the first half, they were clearly the better team, created all the chances and all the running.
And it can be won in the first half, can't it? As indeed Perth did last week. They got 2 early field goals and Melbourne struggled after that. If Canberra had done likewise here, well, maybe they could have shut it down as well.
Still time.
That's right, 10 minutes, 11 minutes to go. Scored 2 goals in 3 minutes, as Brisbane did in the third quarter. Now Fowler and Alden's having a bit of a
chat about the weather, and there's Cameron Fraser with a stick check.
Castro plays it on for Hart, seems to have swapped sides.
Penalty corner, it's a stick check as he dived, went over the top of the stick. Jason Hart did it very well by protecting the ball.
He's being a bit more constructive on that left side, Richard.
Yeah, well, he's always a bit of a live wire. When he came down from Darwin, he came down as an 18-year-old, and he was always considered to be a real live wire. And of course, that's what they're looking for in this game.
Robertson has hurt his left knee or turned the left ankle. And he's instrumental in the Brisbane defence. I don't think he'll be sprinting out too quickly from the line. So
it's a real dilemma here whether they're going to go for the 1-point play or the 2-point play. Keith Stevens obviously took a message from the bench then, so let's have a look.
Well, they need 4 to win it. 3 points will get them a draw. They've got to get 1 or 2 initially. Stopped. And it's a 1-point play. Took a deflection.
Oh, it's been saved on the line by Peter Walker.
Well, he's been one of your best, and he's earned his money again, Richard.
Yes, he's done very well. We see it here, there's a save, and there's a little deflection, and Peter Walker, the bouncing ball, as McLennan's in the circle, but again, Ludwig clears the ball over the sideline. You just have to ask yourself, how many chances do you need to score?
Hart trips over it. Robertson, attempted clearance. Gets as far as Castro. He's got some help with Piper. Piper looks up, assesses the options. No goal, not from that distance.
Not from that distance.
Shot, as we have told you a couple of times, has to be taken from inside the circle. If you're new to hockey.
Yes. And I can see Bruce Robinson still flexing that knee. He's either got a very sore knee or he's getting cramp. We'll find out, and we'll keep a close eye on that. Here he is with the ball.
And he was a little bit slow to do something with it. McLennan closed in on him. A few raindrops smudging my paperwork. But, the players would hardly be noticing it.
I would have thought they looked more like ice than raindrops.
It's cold enough. Where's the heater, Mum?
Go line now. Go ball.
Well, I think that breeze is coming off the ocean, and it's not too warm. It's certainly a southerly. Stephen plays it for Piper, stretched well, and well, he played it through the legs of Woodley, but only to Robertson.
Who lifted it, so it's dangerous, so it'll be a free hit to Piper.
Gallagher tripped up, and there's a little bit of feeling out there now as the minutes tick away and the urgency comes into Canberra's work as they realise there's no tomorrow for the loser of today.
Here he is again, Peter Walker. We hear Coach Neil Hallgood yelling out to his players to keep out of it. What he doesn't want is people being sent off at this stage of the game, and they're forced to play with 10 players.
Yes, a yellow card would mean a 5-minute at least suspension, and they don't want to be playing 10 men in the last 8 minutes.
Here's Fraser with a chance.
Oh, a little deflection off the keeper, I think, and Fraser did well. Just let the ball roll into the circle before putting on a powerful shot.
There he is there on the edge. But Clancy just got a half a boot and half a stick to it, I think. Quite a lucky save, but still, they should be goals.
I don't think he knew too much about it. He had his stick in the right position. Hard. Oh, played it in to Peter Walker. Hard to go past him. He's made some important saves. Hard again. Can he get past Walker? Unlikely.
Well, all he can do is, the Lakers coach, when he looks on, is maybe think about putting another forward on, playing one less defender, maybe playing a couple of high strikers right up on 25 in attack and just waiting there. Neil Hallgood, he's pensively looking at his defence, hoping that the cool heads will prevail and nothing silly will be done.
Well, the Redheads, Darren Fowler and Bruce Robertson at the back, as we suggested before the game started, have let so little through this year. They've had 62 points for and 19 against, as opposed to Canberra's 53 and 46 coming into this game. Brisbane have had a points difference of plus 43, and I think that's an indication that they're a pretty handy side in attack and defence. Brown comes away. Been a little quieter in this last quarter, but his contribution in the first three have certainly more than warranted his selection.
Yes, he certainly worked very hard in the midfield. Of course, the Blades are the defending champions, so on present form, on present indications, they're going to play the Perth Thundersticks in Melbourne next weekend.
Robertson up to the quarter.
That won't be as easy as many people think, because the Australian under-21 players will still be away, which means Corbett and Deletti. So it won't be an easy game. And
Fraser over the 25, beats one. He's got all the skills. Turns on it. Has Brown with him. Two come in. Oh, he's got the pass to Brown. Isn't this great to watch? Brown flicks it in, but Hawes was there. Zach Hawes broke down what was great work from Fraser and Brown.
Yes, this performance by Cameron Fraser won't be being missed by the Australian under-21 selectors, of course, because he's still under 21, as a number of the players in this game are.
Fowler.
It's an ugly tackle, so that'll be a penalty corner, and rightly called by umpire Sean Asen.
So just shaking his right wrist there, Fowler. Might have copped a blow to the fingers, and he's earned a penalty corner. And if there's any more points from this, I think it's good night Lakers.
Yeah, I think they'd go for the 1 point play here to make this into 4 points. Put himself in a very strong position then.
Brown comes up. Bruce Robertson may hit. I think there's they're going for the 1 pointer here for sure. And Castro was quickly enough out to shut it down.
They didn't have enough people in attack to benefit from the rebound. They spent more time getting people back in defence to making sure that the Lakers wouldn't score a goal on the breakaway.
Fraser, I would have liked to see them try to create some doubt in the Lakers' mind too. At least have a couple more players up there to double battery, or maybe to suggest the 2 point play. Anyway, it's with Gallagher on halfway for the Lakers. Got around 4 minutes left. They're stacking the defence, Brisbane. You can't blame them for that.
No, not at all.
Hale.
Fresh legs, because he hasn't played much, Jason Hale.
Trying to get a reverse stick pass to his mate inside, which was Bransgrove. Piper. Stephen and Aldens. Aldens works it in field. Hale. Hard it was. Under 3 minutes left. You can expect some long balls out of defence from Brisbane if they can get a stick near it. Kelly. They'll be careful about their tackles, and that was effective. And goalkeeper Clancy comes out. Piper. Gallagher. Defenders close in. Nichols it was, made the important tackle, but it's come to Hart. Aldens.
Still trying.
Well, they're being hesitant though. There's not much happening for them in the circle.
He wasn't in the circle, that's why he hesitated. Little deflection up. Another penalty corner. Every time the ball goes in the air in the circles, the umpires jump on it very quickly because it can always lead to dangerous play. You either have a forward having a swing at it trying to hit a goal, or a defender trying to get it out as quick as possible. So the umpires blow the whistle very, very quickly.
Maybe 90 seconds left. Aldens. Stephen slaps his side as he knows that was perhaps last throw of the dice for the Lakers as Brisbane head for the safety of the sideline.
Once again, Peter Walker.
Stephen trying to get the cross in.
Ludwig.
Just soaking up the seconds.
Yes, and at this stage you'd have to say that the Perth Thundersticks and the Brisbane Blades will play off in the final in Melbourne next Sunday, which we will be televising.
Yes, 4 o'clock Eastern Summer Time. We'll be at the Melbourne hockey venue where the Champions Trophy was played a couple of years ago.
Yes, 1990.
Around this time of year too.
Hopefully we'll have some nice weather and a very big crowd.
Stephen. Not enough time for them to score twice.
It's a bit late in the game for people to getting aggravated.
Yes, that was a bit pointless. Walker.
He's one of the best players on the field by a long way.
Brown. Fraser. And ball has to retreat quickly. Fraser rushes in on him. Castro. Aldens denied by Fowler. And Hawes with a tackle. There's really not going to be time to score twice though. Keith Stephen.
There it is.
Well, there won't be time to score even the once. Well, it was all a matter of 2 or 3 minutes in that third quarter when Brisbane came alive after being held scoreless in the first 2 quarters. All the points came from the stick of John Robertson, and they showed enough, but it was a bit patchy.
Yes, they certainly did. They were a bit patchy, and they'd have to thank their defence, led by Peter Walker, Lindsay Woods and Bruce Robinson, for some fantastic defensive work. Some goals that should have been scored by the Lakers, chances that went begging, and in this type of competition, if you miss the easy chances, then probably at the end of the day they don't deserve to win.
Well, Karen Tighe has the point scorer with her. Here's Karen.
Congratulations, John, scoring all the points on the field today. It was 0-0 at half-time. What was said at the break?
Not a real lot, actually. It was sort of get your minds back on the job, try pressing them more and keeping them up in their end of the field a lot more. We were making a lot of basic mistakes as well, so just to cut out our basic mistakes.
Because the pressure was on, wasn't it? Because Canberra had 2 excellent opportunities in that second quarter and didn't capitalise. Yeah,
we could have really been behind the 8 ball, but luckily they missed and we took ours, so it was good.
Perth next weekend in the final, they're going to be a tough proposition.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have our captain back, Greg Falls, with the broken finger, so hopefully we'll have him back for a bit more up the back. But no, well done for all the guys, and hopefully we'll roll them again next week.
Having 3 breaks instead of the 1 when there's just the halves in hockey, does it make it... Do you have to have that extra bit of energy coming out after that half-time break?
I don't know, really. I never get to play a full game anyway, so it doesn't matter, really.
Well, you certainly did everything right today, John. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
And perhaps by accident, John making the point there that he doesn't play a full game. The thing about the extra breaks and the rolling substitutions is that most of the hard-running players are given the break.
That's right, and that's a good thing in the game. And as we saw, the coach of the Lakers, Ray Dorset, used a pinch hitter and a specialist stick stopper who came on from the sideline. Now that's unusual in hockey, so I'm sure we're going to see more of that rolling substitution, people coming on to do specialist jobs.
The Brisbane side hasn't played Perth because they play in 2 divisions, so it's Eastern versus Southern Division, but they certainly would have watched them last week. Who would you fancy?
Oh, you'd have to fancy the Perth Thundersticks, but remembering, of course, that Greg Corbett, as I said, and Damon Deletti won't be playing. And I've actually heard a rumour that Mark Hager's having trouble with his foot, the same foot that caused him trouble at that made him pull out of the Olympics, of course. And if that's a problem, that's going to be a real problem for the Thundersticks, because that's 3 very important players.
Well, Brisbane captain Lindsay Woods would be a happy man, and he's with Karen now.
Yes, the man behind the mask. Lindsay, you did have the pressure on you at some stages, especially in that second quarter when Canberra had those 2 good chances.
Yes, I think they were pretty unlucky not to score there. They had a couple of decent shots, but they went wide, luckily for us, and was allowed us to stay in the game, so it was good.
Did the game go as you expected? Were you expecting such a low score, like there was just nothing in it at half-time?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think both teams would realise that it was a low-scoring game, or was going to be a low-scoring game. So.
Being in 2 divisions, you obviously haven't played Perth as yet. How are you expecting things to go next weekend?
Oh, I think we'll just play it by ear and see how we go. I think our performance may have to lift a little bit from today's performance, but hopefully it'll be right on the day next week.
Good luck in that one.
Oh, thanks. Thanks very much.
Well, the goalkeeping could have a say in it, as it did in the first semi-final and today. A couple of key saves made, Richard.
Yeah, certainly, and particularly if Deletti doesn't play. Lindsay Woods has just been included in the Australian team to go to Bombay in January, so his performance will be watched very carefully by the Australian selectors and the Australian coach Frank Murray. Who will play for Perth, I don't know at this stage, and that's an interesting selection. And of course, if, as I was mentioning, if Hagar's out and Corbett's out, that takes some real firepower away from the Perth Thundersticks, and of course that swings the balance maybe back to a much level game, particularly if Forbes comes back for the Brisbane Blades, and he's been out with a broken thumb.
Briefly about this Indira Gandhi tournament in Bombay, a lot of fringe Australian players are going. Some of our Olympians have made themselves unavailable. What kind of tournament is this in Bombay?
Well, it's a tournament that I suppose is going to launch people back in, get them back on track towards Atlanta. Some of the Australian players, like the captain Warren Birmingham and the vice captain David Wansborough, are unavailable. A few of the other guys couldn't get away from work, so it gives some young players like Max Diamond, Brendan Gerrard, some of those younger players, Damien Cito, an opportunity to move into the Australian team, go away with the national coach Frank Murray, and perform in a competition which is not really top quality, but hard enough to get for the people to get a judge, for the selectors and the coach to judge them on their performances as we launch into the next 4 years towards Atlanta.
Well, as a coach, you'd be aware of the importance of blooding these guys. You never know when one of your key players is going to be injured. They've got to be exposed to that international experience, haven't
Absolutely, and every opportunity you get. And of course the Indira Gandhi tournament back in Bombay, a place I went to in 1982. I'm glad I got a headache and I'm not going.
Okay, well, let's look ahead to what else you can expect to see on ABC Sport, and we're busy as always. Monday night, the best of British soccer. You'll be seeing all the goals from the Premier League. NFL American football Tuesday night with Don Lane, and presented in Don's inimitable style. We're getting pretty close to the Super Bowl as well, which you're going to see on ABC Sport. And on Thursday night, baseball right around the country, and hasn't that attracted some attention this season? And a bit of a changing of the guard there with some teams that were also rans last year doing very well this year, including the Sydney Blues and the Brisbane Bandits and the Melbourne Monarchs. And Saturday afternoon, as we mentioned earlier in the day, that Paralympics Madrid special presented by Karen Ty, that followed the Paralympics that you would have seen a lot of on ABC Sport from Barcelona. The Madrid special is about those with intellectual disabilities. And next Sunday, well, at 4 o'clock, the National Hockey League Grand Final between the Perth Thundersticks and the Brisbane Blades. Perth looking to take away the title from Brisbane, Brisbane having won it last year in its inaugural year, and it's all going pretty well. So all set for a great Sunday, next Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. I hope you can join us then. Steve Rebillard signing off on behalf of Richard Agus and the ABC Sport team in Newcastle. Brisbane defeating the Lakers by 3 points to 0.